So I wanted to give it a couple of days before I discuss this whole Arsenal calamity against Aston Villa, and I wanted to do that just to settle my head a little bit. I didn't want to come on here and start talking dross because of the emotion, but I can't lie, there's still a lot of emotion still here because that was a really tough defeat against Villa. And I don't really have a plan on how I'm going to structure this, so I'm just sort of going to go all out and just see where I go with it. It was disappointing. It was very disappointing. I had a bad feeling before the game, but I thought Arsenal had progressed past this point, past these sort of games. I thought we'd shown maturity in recent matches. And this game was just a flashback to the previous Arsenal, the old narratives that used to be above our heads. And it was just so disappointing to see. I don't want to start on any individuals yet. I will get onto them. But I want to talk about the team as a whole, because I thought the first half we looked scintillating. I thought, yeah, feet were up. And it felt like only a matter of time before we'd score. But we were missing a lot of chances. And there was a part of me in the back of my mind thinking, don't make us regret these chances we're missing. Just like earlier on in the season. And I think we did. We ended up coming away. Looking at that first half, we put everything into that first half. All them chances, you got to put one of them away. And by the time the second half came, we looked flat, completely exhausted. Was it exhaustion? I don't know. Physical fatigue, mental fatigue, I don't know what it was, but we just fell off completely in the second half. And it felt a little bit like last season. It felt, to me, a bit of a carbon copy to the Brighton game of last season. I know, of course, that point last season, the league was already done. And I know a lot of fans are saying the league's done now because City aren't going to drop points. And even if they do, we still have to win every single game, which is very unlikely when we've still got to go to Tottenham, we've still got to go to Wolves, we've still got to go to Old Trafford, and we've got the Champions League game coming up as well. It's rough. It's looking really rough, and it's crazy because it's our first loss of 2024 in the Premier League. And the reaction coming out of it, it's just crazy. I think it's made it 100 times worse, just the reaction from our own fans. Not even from rival fans, because you're going to get that anyway, but from our own fans. And I do want to touch on the fans that left as early as they did, and it was embarrassing, I have to say. And I don't know if I can say that because I weren't at the game, and I feel a little bit weird for slandering fans that were at the game. But that sort of adds to my point. It's so hard to get tickets as a non-season ticket holder this season because Arsenal are doing so well and all the tickets are sold out instantly. You got the ballot system and all that. And then you got all of those fans. I'm sorry, not all of those fans were leaving to catch their train. They just weren't. They were leaving because of the performance, because they conceded even the first goal fans were leaving. And it's a real shame because one loss in 2024 and that's how we treat our players. I mean, you look at Saliba. What if a bid came in for Saliba this summer, which isn't going to happen, but say it did, Real Madrid come in, and who are we to say, yeah, no, you can't go because you belong here now? He's going to look back at a game like that, see all his own fans just disappearing as soon as we lose a game. Why is he... And I'm just using Saliba as an example. Why are these players going to feel the urge to stay at this club when our fans leave that easily and just completely... I mean, Twitter was a cesspit, complete cesspit, and we know what Twitter is. It's not a reflection on the actual fan base of a club, but some of the things that I was seeing on Twitter was just... And it makes you think, do we deserve this title? Like, do we genuinely deserve it? After that loss, for that complete meltdown. I mean, people suggesting Arteta out. I'm all for opinions in football. But to call for Arteta's head after that, I mean, I don't even know. I don't really want to go down that road, and I don't really want to discuss that. I want to keep this purely on the game. So I'm gonna pivot back onto the game, and I'm gonna start talking about some of the individuals, because there was some shockers and there's some deeper problems there, which I think we've all known about, but because things are going well, you don't really want to touch on the negatives. But while there's going to be a lot of negatives, I do want to talk about one positive, and that was Martin Odegaard. A world-class performance in that first half. Probably the best half of football from an individual in this team we've seen in the whole season. I think, once again, he's showing that he is a world-class player. The other players, I'm not yet seeing anyone stand up in these crunch games, putting that headline on their name, you know, that label saying I'm world class. Martin Odegaard's doing it, and I've spoken about it on my Twitter and on TikTok as well. Martin Odegaard is world class, and that performance demonstrated that completely. He did not deserve to be on the losing team. He looked exhausted in the second half as well, which is no surprise. He's 100 miles an hour every single game, so it does not surprise me. And we let him down. The whole team let him down. No one else were on his wavelength. Negatives. Where do I start? I mean, the centre-backs were getting pulled all over the place again. Look, a shadow of a couple of games ago. Gabriel just looked a mess at times. Ben White was getting skinned in that second half against Zaniolo. Probably his worst game since the first half of the season. Really poor. And then there's Zinchenko. Man, I don't really want to jump on the bandwagon, but I think, yeah, we need to realise this guy is... We've got to let go. I'm sorry, we do. Brilliant when he came in. Last season, he revolutionised that position, the inverted fullback. But we've evolved past Zinchenko now. And the mistakes he's making are too costly for where we're trying to be. And I'm sorry, we cannot be relying on a Zinchenko now to get us over the line. Man City used him as a squad player and then let him go to us because Pep Guardiola realised, yeah, it's fine, I'll go bring in someone else. And he did. He relied on Ake, who's better than Zinchenko, and then he brought in Gabriel, who's, on paper, he's better than Zinchenko. He hasn't proved it this season, but he is better than Zinchenko. I don't really know what else to say about Zinchenko that everyone else doesn't know. We all know. Complete liability at times. He was trying to nutmeg players when we were under pressure, and that's just Zinchenko in a nutshell. He can be so good at times when you're going forward. He can completely help the system we're trying to play. But that was not the game for Zinchenko. That game was for players coming in to handle business. And who's the other one? Who's a former Man City player who is too emotionally involved in games at times when you need someone to be professional, business. I'm coming out to do a job. I'm not here to do step overs and jinx here and there. And it's Gabriel Jesus, man. And I'm a big fan of Jesus, but he just showed us what he is. And it's not a big game in terms of a Big Six game. It's against Aston Villa, who, yeah, have been really good this season. But it's a game at home where we should be getting the job done. And it was meant to be just handle business. And in these games, you cannot rely upon a player whose final actions are so poor. And I'm not just talking about the shots. We know he misses shots. He scored 4 goals in the Premier League this season. Not good enough for your number 9 when you're trying to get across the line and win a title. It's just not. It's his final actions altogether, the final pass, whatever it may be, he cannot get it right. And we've seen the difference between Havertz being up front and him being up front. Sky brought up the graphic. Gary Neville commented on it as well when he was on commentary. We all know. And yes, Havertz doesn't skim players at times. He doesn't nutmeg players. He doesn't jink past players. If you want that, go watch a Ronaldinho compilation. I'm here to win games. I'm here to watch my team win and succeed. And I'm not here to watch players jink past players and get nutmegs and look really good on compilations. I'm here to see a player get in and do the job and get us across the line. Kivior, another one. He shouldn't have played against Bayern Munich. We all know Tomiyasu should have played in that game. mistake from Arteta. But this is a game where you need a Kivior, a calm head, someone coming out just to do his job, go home, and that's it. But you got Zinchenko running around like a fucking headless chicken, not knowing where to go, trying to do nutmegs in the right back position, keeping players onside. And then you got Jesus. 1 minute may be good, 1 minute may be shit. He's fucking shite sometimes. And I love Jesus at times. We all do. But you cannot rely upon Jesus to get over the line and win a Premier League title. You can. If you could, Man City would have kept him. Who else shall I talk about? Saka, really good in the first half. Disappeared in the second. He has to turn up against Bayern Munich in the second game. Because if we come away trophyless at the end of this season and Saka's disappeared in the crunch moments again, serious questions are going to be asked. And you got Cole Palmer banging in 4 goals. Yes, different pressure. His team's in 9th position. You got Foden banging in hat-tricks, scoring that banger in the Bernabeu. And it's hard to defend Saka when he's pretending to limp for having a crap game again. Martinelli comes on, does nothing again. I did a whole video on Martinelli. When are people going to realise we need a moment's player in this team? Whether that's a striker, whether that's a left winger. It's one of those positions. And fans aren't willing to accept, look, we love Martinelli. I said it a billion times in my last video. We love him, we love him, we love him. Okay, but the goals and the output and the performances this season have not been good enough. He's just come back from injury. He's playing exactly how he's been playing all season. It's not an excuse. If he's playing really well before his injury, I'd say, okay, fair enough. He's just come back from injury. He's playing the exact same. Even the games we were winning, he wasn't existent. And we all do this thing every single game. Best front three, we need to get Martinelli in there. He plays, does nothing, no one talks about it. I don't want to do a whole segment on Martinelli again. He didn't even start the game. And it sounds like I've got an agenda. But when you're looking to win a game, to nick something, it was 0-0. You're looking at a Martinelli, a starter in the team he's meant to be. We're arguing for him being one of the best left wingers, if not the best left winger in the Premier League last season. 15 goals. But I was just looking at the bench. I didn't look at him as I tell you have to get Martinelli on. Because of how he's been playing this season. And he proved me right when he come on. He didn't impact the game at all. But yeah, I've discussed these players. Bad performance. I don't want to overreact. And I want to keep this short because there's no time to be sulking and whinging about it. We've got Bayern Munich in the Champions League. And we've got an opportunity to go into the semi-finals. And it's going to be a very tough game. Bayern Munich at the Allianz. A couple of injuries they've got. I don't care if we're exhausted. I don't care if we're tired. Rice looked knackered. I don't care. We've got to pull something out and find a win. Because if we don't, going into that Wolves game away, it's going to be very rough. Especially if we don't win that one as well. It's going to be very, very rough. And I don't know if I'm ready to enter that cesspit. I mean, the cesspit after this loss. I mean, this reaction, this is the most animated I've been for a long, long while. And it's going to get worse if we don't do what we need to do. Look, Bayern's a tough game. I don't know if we're favourites. But make yourself favourites. Find a way. Find a way. No time to be whinging. Find a way. Saka, are you world class? If you think you are, prove it. Odegaard, I need another top performance. Captain's performance. Martinelli, if you start, prove me wrong. Jesus, if you play, prove me wrong. Havertz, if you play, prove all these haters wrong. I'm going to wrap it up there because it's been... I delayed this video because I wanted the emotion to be out of it. I wanted to give an honest view after the frustration had died down. Obviously, talking about it, the frustration rises again. But make sure to like the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you soon.